Big Soda attempted to secretly buy off conservative influencers to fight against RFK's war on soda, causing a lot of turbulence in MAGA world.
So in case you missed it, last month RFK announced that the Trump administration will allow states to ban people on food stamps or SNAP recipients from using that money to buy soda.
And as you can imagine, there are mixed responses to this ban. So there's one side that says it infringes on freedom of choice and when have nutritional bans actually produced real results. But then there's another side that's saying that pushes like this could save taxpayer money on programs like Medicaid. But TBD whether RFK actually has the legal ability to do this, since SNAP actually falls under the Department of Agriculture and isn't under his purview.
And soda is definitely bad for you, and like we know sugar has proven health risks, but I don't know if I like that the government can tell poor people how to spend their money.
But to dive into the weirder details of this story, days after RFK's announcement, a slew of conservative social media personalities went after him. So accounts like Clown World with 3 million followers posted, "This is government overreach. Remember when New York tried this and it backfired, and a new war on soda has begun."
And then more conservative commentators chimed in. They were calling out the hypocrisy and posting photos of Trump's Diet Coke button, which we've reported on, and Trump drinking Coke at the golf course. And weirdly, they all had the exact same wording and posted the same photos of Trump.
And then journalist Nick Sorter exposed everyone on X, claiming that marketing agency Influenceable was secretly cutting huge checks to MAGA influencers on behalf of Big Soda to whip up outrage on social media. We even have the template that was like sent to all of these influencers. It has talking points and images of Trump that they can use.
And then Turning Point USA contributor Riley Gaines corroborated the claims, to which RFK responded saying, "Thank you for your integrity, Riley. It's troubling that some companies now think they have a right to demand taxpayer money to poison our children." And then a lot of the mega creators deleted their posts and apologized for misleading their audience.
That was not a discreet campaign at all, like so embarrassing. And this is just one example of how clear it is that the beverage industry is in flux, and Big Soda is losing when it comes to branding itself as like cool and healthy and reputable, especially when all of these new drinks are kind of popping up every other day and are so successful.
Well, the undisputed king of Capitol Hill is Celsius. The Washington Post wrote an article titled "The U.S. Government Runs on Celsius," and the findings were shocking.
Right, like in the basement of the Capitol, there's a Celsius-only vending machine that kind of just feeds the addiction of Hill staffers and representatives. And the person who refills the machines daily was interviewed and said, "I just filled it, but by the end of the day, I bet all the Celsius will be gone."
Well, I guess it especially empties out before big legislative pushes, according to a Wyoming senator who's called the Congressional Celsius Influencer. And Speaker of the House Mike Johnson doesn't want to take any risks of not getting a can, so he keeps an ever-replenished stash in his office, and there's even video of him drinking it while swearing in new members in January.
So it makes sense that last year they raked in $1.3 billion in revenue. And as we all know, Celsius is an energy drink primarily for fitness, but has become like a coffee substitute for so many people. It has 21 flavors like Fuji apple pear, kiwi guava, and my personal favorite, strawberry passion fruit. And where Celsius really gets its edge is marketing itself as healthy. Like it claims it can boost your metabolism and burn fat, kind of like a goopified Red Bull.
Essential vitamins and proven ingredients. Celsius. Live fit.
And even though the studies that allow them to make those claims are pretty flimsy because they're brand funded, this healthy reputation has really opened the door for women to embrace it, which is a big departure since usually energy drinks are very like macho masculine. My doctors say, sorry to all the politicians, that despite this healthy branding, Celsius is just like any other energy drink.
I'm gonna get so much heat for this, but let me tell you why Celsius drinks are not good for you. There's no proven benefit. There's no proven health benefits to these drinks.
I drank one 5 hours ago and I still feel like I'm about to have a panic attack.
So what she's feeling is coming from the caffeine levels. A can of Celsius has about 200 milligrams of caffeine. Compared to other beverages, a can of Coke has about 35 milligrams of caffeine. A Monster drink, 150 milligrams.
So if you or your children drink this, please don't, especially if you are suffering from poor sleep or mood issues.
And the way that Celsius gets around like the caffeine limit and FDA approval, which it doesn't have, is because it brands itself as a workout supplement. And it seems like consumers these days are really susceptible to like health conscious branding, and perhaps no soda is doing it better than Poppi with its like colorful packaging and fun flavors, and trademarking itself as a gut healthy soda for all of the prebiotics that are in it. It's actually the top seller in the soda soft drinks category on Amazon.
People kind of look at them as like a masterclass in marketing because of the way that they've used influencers and celebrity sponsorships. Like we all remember Alex Earl going to Coachella last year with them, or their partnership with the Lakers, or Billie Eilish saying it's a staple in her dressing room before concerts. They even had the most watched ad of last year's Super Bowl, which was seen by 30 million households.
This will be the last moment you ever think of soda as being a dirty word. Poppi is the next chapter in the story of soda. The future of soda is now, and it's called Poppi.
We're staying with Poppi. So up here we have our big Poppi spread. We have Coachella, and this is our Poppi style living room.
Poppi is getting called out big time for shipping these insane vending machines to a bunch of influencers.
I literally love Poppi so much. This is actually insane.
Ah yes, viral vending machine Poppygate. So a quick refresher on the internet drama if you missed it. So ahead of the Super Bowl, Poppi sent like fully sized, full stocked vending machines filled with Poppi to dozens of influencers who then obviously like flaunted it on social media, and haters in the comments were pissed. They were saying the gift was so out of touch, like so wasteful. Quote, I bet hospital workers or school teachers would have loved that.
Then Poppi's biggest competitor, Olipop, entered the chat and started leaving comments like, for the record, those machines cost $25K each, LOL, or 32 machines times $25K, yikes. So there's clearly some major beef between these brands. But Poppi made a statement saying that the vending machines cost less than half of that, and that they were just temporary gifts to creators hosting Super Bowl parties and would be reused in the future.
And that was unfortunately not the only scandal that Poppi was caught up in. So the brand was actually hit with a class action lawsuit last year saying that the soda doesn't live up to its promise of being gut healthy. And nutritional scientists actually agree, saying that a can doesn't have enough prebiotics in it, and that you'd actually have to drink 4 cans of Poppi every day for at least 3 weeks to get any kind of benefit from it. But at that point, you would have consumed so much sugar that like it would cancel out any positive.
So what makes it worse is that the prebiotic fiber is actually really hard to digest. So if you have a strong stomach and you can tolerate it, it can be beneficial because it feeds the good bacteria in your gut. But if you have stomach issues or a sensitive stomach, which, relatable, then it can wreak havoc on your digestive system. Like there's lots of videos on social media of people complaining of painful gas or bloating after drinking Poppi or any prebiotic soda, actually especially Olipop because it has a ton of prebiotic fiber. And doctors have reported literally telling their patients to stop drinking it.
So Poppi settled the lawsuit for $8.9 million just a few weeks ago and actually stopped writing gut healthy on its cans. And that same week that they settled, they were actually acquired by PepsiCo for nearly $2 billion. And this just kind of shows how big soda is entering this like better for you soda space in order to stay relevant in the industry.
And it's interesting, Pepsi made this acquisition a month after Coca-Cola announced it's launching a prebiotic soda of its own called Simply Pop.
Ah yes, the bitter cola wars of the 1970s continue.
So Coke's is part of the Simply line, like we all know, like Simply Juice and stuff. But interestingly, Simply Pop does have 10 grams of sugar, which is double what Poppi has, but is nowhere near the 40 grams of sugar in a normal Coke.
And people are really tracking this. A 2024 survey of 18 to 34-year-olds associated terms like unhealthy, sugary, and diet with Coca-Cola, as opposed to Poppi, which they associated with probiotics, organic, nutritious, and beneficial.
And their association isn't unfounded because a recent study found that sugary drinks like soda and energy drinks contribute to 330,000 deaths and 3 million new cases of diabetes and heart disease a year.
So it's really no wonder that US sales of Coca-Cola slid 14% in the past decade. But honestly, at the end of the day, like in the food and beverage industry, marketing is everything. And big soda is really struggling to kind of find its place with Gen Z. Like Coca-Cola started to kind of come out with new flavors to entice young consumers. They introduced Spiced last February, which was their first new flavor in 3 years, and it was such a flop that they phased it out in a couple months.
Yeah, they claimed it had the classic taste of Coca-Cola with refreshing bursts of raspberry and a curated blend of warm spiced flavors. But younger customers said it tasted nothing like Spice and that the name and branding made no sense.
Pepsi sales have also plummeted recently, 32% in the past decade. It introduced like a new logo last year and has really been trying to rebrand, but ultimately it was behind on like ad spending in comparison to Coca-Cola and these other sodas. So it decided to shift strategies and basically market Pepsi as like the soda that tastes better with food.
Well, according to the CEO, there's scientific evidence that because of the unique mix of spices, the level of carbonation, and the sweetness of a bottle of Pepsi, it actually goes well with most foods. That's really convenient.
Pasta deserves Pepsi. every bite. Better with Pepsi.
Literally such a random claim, but apparently it's working. So Pepsi is boosting its social ad campaign. That ad that we saw has millions of views, and sales in retail stores since the rollout has doubled.
Well, the cola wars are at it again because Coke actually ran the same campaign, and now 20% of Italians say they drink Coke with their pizza, which is up from just 10% 4 years ago.
Something else we came across in our research that we didn't expect to obliterate soda sales is the war in Israel and Gaza. So both Coca-Cola and Pepsi are facing huge boycotts in the Middle East and South Asia because they're seen as brands that are symbols of America and by extension Israel.
Both companies have spent hundreds of millions of dollars over decades building demand in Muslim majority countries, so these boycotts really have an impact, not only in what's being described as cratered sales, but also in their reputation. So one couple that refused to serve Coke and Pepsi at their wedding said they didn't want their money lining the tax coffers of the United States, Israel's staunchest ally.
And it'll be interesting to see if there's a bounce back in these sales at some point, but this conflict has no end in sight, so there's new soda brands that are kind of popping up all over the place, like Cola Gaza and Palestine drinks, which has sold 16 million cans in the last 5 months. And it's kind of just like activism you can drink. It's basically selling this brand to raise awareness of the issue.
It's funny how on the nose those names are. Well, when Bangladesh's Coke sales dropped 23%, the franchise tried to do damage control by running an ad that said, "Even Palestine has a Coke factory." But then they were forced to delete it everywhere when it came to light that that factory is actually owned and operated by Israel.
Yeah, that's rough for a company like Coca-Cola that's literally known for its very neutral marketing policy on socio-political issues. But honestly, there's so much drama and mixed messaging when it comes to soda. It might just be better to stick to water.